All right, guys, welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Mike. I am your host, Michael Beckford. And in today's topic, ratchet topic, I should say, is Houston spring break. Who is to blame for what's been trending online, all over social media, YouTube, Instagram, all over the place? This is 5 Minutes with Mike. Our news, our voice, our issues. Believe that.
The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo reviewing security after several fights broke out at the carnival back on Saturday night this past weekend. It was something. Videos on social media showing a large group of people fighting right in the middle of the crowded midway there in Houston, causing panic. Some families running from the area. Witnesses say they're not sure what started all the fighting. Rodeo officials say security teams and law enforcement moved in quickly to get this all under control. One witness who recorded some video described the moment the chaos unfolded.
I seen the dude throw the punch, and then after that, it was just I didn't know who was with who. I just seen punches throwing, kicks. Shoot, I probably even seen a backflip. I feel like the police were on alert. And then once the horses came in, like a lot of people like scattered.
Out there fighting and doing gymnastics. Organizers shut down the carnival early Saturday as a result of those fights. Rodeo officials said law enforcement and event staff members are reviewing what happened, taking steps to prevent similar incidents moving forward. Let's hope that doesn't happen again.
We'll talk about it in a second. It's the year 2026, and for some odd reason, Houston, Texas became the destination of choice for spring breakers to come to nationwide. Mostly black spring breakers, I should say. Now, I repeatedly go back and forth between Houston and Florida. I am a Florida resident still, but I am actually at the turn of this recording. I am at the time of this recording. Sorry, I am currently located in Houston, Texas. And I kind of avoided some of the big crowds in a way because last weekend I went to Galveston, Texas, which is a dirty looking beach for the most part. It definitely ain't Florida, but I went out just to kind of have a day to myself or whatever. Yeah, I've noticed some of the crowds and things of that nature when it came down to Houston, but I'm not a big club person and all that stuff, so you're not really gonna see me like looking for the crowds and all that stuff. But I have noticed definitely a 3-4-fold increase in traffic and ramp closures and all kind of stuff that's been happening here in the city of Houston, Texas. Now, one thing I haven't noticed, because once again, like I said, I'm not one to look for crowds. I think that large crowds in itself can be dangerous, no matter what race or creed that is in that crowd, just because of a couple things. Number one, too many people in one space. All it takes is one person to trigger an event. And one thing, when I was growing up, one thing, especially in the black community, one person run, everybody start running. And then you have this domino effect. But now, guess what? If you're in a situation where you're like elbow to elbow with people, kind of like what happened in the unfortunate Travis Scott incident some years ago, you have a sense where people can become asphyxiated, and it's, unfortunately, a couple of people were unalived when it came down to the Travis Scott situation. So what am I saying? I don't like being in places where, because I am low-key claustrophobic already. I don't like being in places where I just feel like there is no out to a degree, Once again, I don't like generally where there's large crowds. Another reason I don't go to clubs too much, you're bumping, you're bumping, penises with this person, and it's just everybody just all up on each other, at all costs. So it's best to just kind of do other things that are vibey for me. You know what I'm saying? I will go to a lounge here and there, but I ain't going to a lounge on spring break weekend. Once again, well, at least, you know, where in everybody and their daddy.
When I feel lonely, when I'm down and out, I know that the Lord will see me out. When I'm alone and always afraid, He's always there to guide me on my way. When they're cruel to me all the time,
Now, more than ever, it's time for us all to speak up, especially times like this. Speak up for your family. Speak up for your community. Speak up for those who have no voice. Speak up for the world. Speak Up Poetry, an anthology of poems by Michael D. Beckford. Speak Up Poetry by Michael D. Beckford. Available on Gumroad.com. Get both the ebook and the 16-track poetry album on Gumroad.com. Speak Up Poetry by Michael D. Beckford.
Don't go to no clubs in 3rd Ward. Don't go to no clubs in 5th Ward, alright? You're going to pay for it. You're going to end up regretting it. Trust me. How much money do I need for Houston, right? I heard I was only going to need about $400. No. The cheapest bottles you're going to find at these clubs, $250. And you got to order 2 bottles for your section. So that's $500. Plus gratuity, plus taxes, and then they going to just add the tip on there for the waitress. So you're going to be coming off of $600 for 2 bottles. Sometimes it's $1,000 for one club. Not be downtown at nighttime. From 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., you go to the normal club. Then 2 a.m. to 7 a.m., it's called the after hours. You basically got to go to both. And y'all think y'all about to get a real nice Airbnb. That Airbnb is most likely right in the ghetto. I guarantee you that if you try to get a cheap Airbnb out here, anything under $100, it look real nice. They remodeled that house right in the middle of the
It's
hood.
coming out, and literally daddies have come out to Houston, Texas for spring break. Now, once again, we've all seen, and not only that, was also, this is a time right now where the rodeo historically takes place in Houston. So you got rodeo traffic, you got spring break traffic, and it all, of course, have come to a head. And there's an incident that took place. It went viral on social media where, at the rodeo, the carnival aspect of the rodeo, right? A lot of this takes place at, as regards to rodeo, it takes place at the football stadium. And, a couple guys girls actually start fighting. And then, one thing led to another. And then they fighting, and they pulling out each other weaves, whatever. And then the next thing you know, this dude just started dancing. And, that's kind of the type of comic relief that we need as a black community. And that's who we are, really. We'll fight each other for a minute, you know what I'm saying? And then just, we'll start kissing and hugging and making up for the most part. Unless we're on some dumb, unless you got some guys that are obviously on some dumb YN type of things, you know what I'm saying? And I honestly, you know what? Let me not say that, because YN, stands for young nigga, and everybody that's a young nigga is not on no young nigga dumb stuff. So let's move that stereotype out the way. So I apologize to all my YNs, because even if the fact that they may have a shiesty mask on per se, it doesn't mean that that's who they are behind that mask. Which, because of these incidents that have happened, I've also, a friend of mine, he is a person that goes to a club. He reported that the club got pew-pewed up, you know what I'm saying? Pew-pew-pew, when he was there. So, I hate this stuff, and you see, listen, you see the stories of, women riding around and you know what I'm saying, giving backseat throat, and also backseat the JJ, you know what I'm saying, all kind of stuff. These things happen in spring break. It is what it is, bro. Like, listen, I wish there was a better answer for it, in regards to some of the degenerate behavior that tends to happen, But listen, kids will be kids. We all had spring breaks, bro. I had spring break when I was in college. I remember I went to Panama City Beach. Everybody was wilding. It was a good mix, of people. It was both black people, white people. We was all wilding, and I remember, me and my homeboys, we had got a hotel. We all just kind of packed in a hotel like sardines. And we had a really good time for the most part. Although I did get choked out at a club. I'm not gonna lie. That bouncer choked me the F out, and I was a much stronger individual at that time. I was fresh out of high school from college, fresh out of fresh out of high school to college, what I'm saying. Played football in high school, all that stuff. So I'm thinking I'm pretty strong, Nah, bro. Nah, that bodyguard, man, that put me in this random chokehold. And it was just some dumb argument. I don't even remember what it was all about. This some years ago. But the point of the matter is, we had fun. We did some dumb things during spring break, you know what I'm saying? I'm not dumb into the point where it was, caused violence against someone else. But just dumb as far as driving crazy and doing donuts in the beach, stuff like that, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, man. Spring break it was very fun. In Panama City, it was a foam party, outside foam party. That was fun. That was nice. Listen, man. It's individuals. These individuals. Listen, we only live once, right? And I'm not saying this. We only live once. The slogan YOLO, to say that it excuses dumb behaviors. I'm not saying that. But at the end of the day, man, we make room for so many other cultures, particularly the white culture, to do some of the most dumb, crazy things. And nobody puts a big microscope over it. But when it comes down to, black culture, it all gets highlighted to the third degree, like anything here in America. And so I want to say, who is to blame when it comes down to what happened here in Houston Spring Break 2026? Some people want to blame single fathers. Like, okay. Some people want to blame single parent households of the mother. Okay. But who's really to blame for spring break in Houston 2026? The answer may surprise you. The kids, or not kids, I'm sorry, the individuals that came here for spring break 2026 that caused disruptive behavior. Now, out of hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, most things went pretty well. Okay, so let's get this part right. But for those that did degenerative acts, those that, pew-pewed up places, those that thought that it was great in their great best interest to have fights. Now, black people weren't the only one fighting either. Out here in these streets, I saw a Caucasian individuals that had a fight. But to the point of the matter, who's to blame? Well, listen. Most of the spring breakers, with the exception of a few, there were some kids that were out. You could tell they definitely were under the age of 18. Probably shouldn't have been out at the rodeo without, parental guidance or something for such an event. Now, traditionally, the rodeo is seen as this family-friendly thing. Last thing they want is the niggas to come out there and mess it up. All right, that's just basically what it is. So they changed, out of all these years, they changed dress codes. They said you can't be gang affiliated. All these are code words for we are now making the rodeo anti-black, essentially. Now, allegedly, I should say, okay? We making it anti-black because y'all niggas don't know how to act. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying. But I refute this when we say the niggas don't know how to act. I say that people become emboldened when they're around large crowds. People do dumb things when they're around their homeboys, when they're around people that they know. So who is to blame for all of the degenerative behavior that may have taken place and dumb things? I say young adults, because that's what college students are. They're young adults, mostly 18 plus. You're a young adult, are to blame for their behaviors. You can't blame a parent, can't blame the single mom, single dad. All that BS stuff goes out the door, because at the end of the day, when you go to the courthouse and you're over the age of 18, you are accountable and responsible for your own actions and your own mistakes. It is what it is. It is what it is. When it comes down to the blame game. Now, I want to cover another thing. I want to cover what I've heard about the scams. Mine. Once again, thank God I'm not a big club person. And even if I was a big club person, I can care less about going VIP. Now, I do go to a club here and there, right? I'm not like totally aloof to it. So I know the club culture, but the club culture now, 2026, is not what it was in the 2010s, what I'm saying, a decade ago. It's totally changed. Club culture now is more so about who think that you got money. You know what I'm saying? Than just dance party, picking up girls, stuff like that. No, people not doing that. They're sitting in their VIP section that they're paying hundreds of dollars for, even a band, whatever, just to impress somebody for an hour and a half at most. Because we already know most people don't go to the club to after 1 or 2 o'clock. So about close to the time the club is closing is when most people that's just crazy in itself as well. But either way, you're impressing these folks that can give a damn about who you are, what you're doing. You ain't a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, now, if you are a celebrity, guess what? You get paid to be there. It ain't the other way around. So you got this club culture. You got all these levels of this and that. And then you got the bottle girls. You know what I'm saying? Bottle girls, from what I've heard, allegedly was scamming sections and all this. But I want to leave off with this when it comes down to black culture and specifically, now Houston, the thing about Houston versus, let's say, spring break in Miami and other places, Houston does have a very strong black population already. So most of these clubs and all these venues are obviously used to blacks coming to a lot of these places, because I believe for demographic wise, Houston has a 35 to 30-something% black, population, which is pretty sizable amount of blacks that are in Houston metro area of millions, right? It's pretty sizable population. But I want to leave off with this. When individuals get their net check or whatever bag that they came up on, why is it in our culture that we just want to just blow money like it ain't never ever tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? That YOLO mentality, once again, like I said, it can be great, but it also can be a double sword at the same time, bro. Like, you go and you spend $1,000 on a fit, a one-time fit that you're gonna wear that night, and then you throw another $1,000 to $1,500 to impress for your bottle section, because then you gotta go buy. You're gonna get extra bottles. You know what I'm saying? You doing all that, doing too much in my opinion. So you just spent $2,500 just on a one night at a club, and not even counting your transportation and costs to even get to Houston or wherever you're going, which may be another $1,000 between hotel, flights, and stuff like that. So you done spent $3,500 or more, right? Imagine what you can invest with $3,500. Imagine what you can do with $3,500 outside of blowing it for one night or two. You know what I'm saying? Even let's say you said you had a budget of $3,500 for the week in Houston. That's still $3,500 can pay a mortgage for most people, most average people. Obviously, car note, all that stuff. But not just that. Imagine you took that $3,500 and you invested in maybe real estate, or you invested in maybe an app or stocks or something else that's outside of, man, I'm doing all this. I'm doing me. I'm doing my big one. Imagine if you took that money and you invested in something that can be able to that can build a lasting fortress for your family. And when I say fortress, meaning a financial fortress. Take the little that you have and you can turn it into a lot. That's biblical. But anyway, guys, Houston Spring Break 2026. I'm sure next year, because as the story turns, You know, Miami, when it was coming down to spring break in Miami, niggas being niggas in some ways. And I'm talking about the ones that ain't that, you know what I'm saying, always causing trouble. That a lot of that got shut down. You know what I'm saying? As far as spring break in Miami, a lot of more restrictive things happened, and I'm sure the same is going to say for parts of you know, what goes down in Houston. We already see it with the rodeo. I'm sure we're going to see other things enacted because, like I said, though, guys, I mean, most of what happened in spring break went pretty, you know what I'm saying, pretty smooth considering the amount of people that were here for spring break. All I'm saying though is it's always the few bad apple that tends to spoil the bunch. All right, guys, like and subscribe to 5 Minutes with Mike. Please hit the comments and let me know what you think.